Dan from the Mike James Rock Show, and I'm going to get these lovely members of Holding Absence to introduce themselves.
Hello, my name is Lucas, and I sing.
And I'm Scott, and I play guitar.
And this is not the first time that we've sat down and natted.
Fourth time, I think?
Yeah,
I think so, yeah.
Started with our very sort of long, because I was very lonely in lockdown, interview there, which you generously gave me a lot of your time. And then we put it on the radio.
It was lonely for me as well, so I'm glad that chat was good.
It's very different to now, where like it doesn't even feel like we're in that phase of life.
No, and you'll hear someone will have it somewhere, and then you'll have like a pang of PTSD and be like, what? No. Yeah, so, but it feels like a different lifetime now,
I find if I get a cold for a couple of days and I've got to stay at home, like I start like thinking, oh God, this is going to last months because of it.
Yeah, dude, I have a terrible immune system as well, so I'll get a cold once a tour. So you can only imagine how paranoid I am.
Well, that must be bad, given that your voice is somewhat, up in the heavens a lot of the time.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like I've actually learned how to perform ill as well as how to perform healthy. Like, I feel like they're two different skills now, so yeah.
And so, I mean, talking about performing, you guys have just come back from the old US of A. And we talked about this just before you went, I think, last year, that you were really looking forward to it. How did you find going across for like the amount of time that you did went for you guys?
It was insane.
Yeah.
It's it's obviously been in America. Like we've done 3 tours over there now, and it's like a dream come true. But it's the 3rd time going over there now. I think it's definitely like like we know how to do it. And it's like it. I think the luster and the allure of like America. Wow, crazy. It's like it's almost like America again. Yeah, cool.
And it was funny as well because me and Scott specifically, like Ben would do merch and Ash has a lot of gear to pack down.
Yeah.
So when we finish playing, we're kind of the quickest to be back into the normal world.
Yeah.
And like we'd go on our bus, and like some nights we'd just be sat there covered in sweat, and I'd look at Scott and I'd be like, this is just it now. This is our lives. Like, you know what I mean? Like, because somehow this crazy dream had become and has become part of our lives, which is crazy. So, yeah.
It's a bit different to when you're having to do like the main job and only tour on a weekend or something like that.
Yeah, very different. So, thankfully.
Are you feeling a little bit like, imposter syndrome is going away now?
No. So, that was one thing I found really interesting about this new album is, we had a concept for it, and there were a few songs that were very like conceptually driven, but then obviously you've kind of got to have a drip tray of just random songs that aren't part of the concept. And the first 2 singles that came out are kind of about imposter syndrome, and I remember like trying to self-therapist and be like, why is that? And I was like, it's because I've just lived my dream for a year. And I'm subconsciously writing songs about imposter syndrome, basically. So if anything, I think the imposter syndrome is worse because the dreams keep getting bigger. You know what I mean? So but you learn to live with it at the same time. So.
A hardship, I'm sure.
It's a good problem to have,
and you guys, while you're playing, as far as I understand, I can ask you in the same question. How was playing Trees, and are you looking forward to playing Trees?
Yeah, well, we love Trees. Like we've done it, the past 4 years?
I think, pretty much every time possible since 2017.
And twice on this particular festival, because you did the Wednesday, and now you're playing again today.
Well, it means now that we've played a full band set on pretty much every stage after we've done the main stage now. So that's going to be that's a little badge of honor,
Are you maybe giving Trees a break next year? And
they need to give us a break. But I mean, the festival to and fro is quite interesting, and I didn't understand it from the outside looking in. But it's like we did Slam Dunk this year. I'd love to do Download next year. We might do Slam Dunk the next year after that. It's kind of to and froing, and I got to be honest, the pandemic really threw a cluster grenade in amongst all the routine of
which
the
ones
festival.
You're going to.
Yeah, right. So last year we filled in for No Devotion last minute, and then and then this year we've been asked to do 2 sets, and then. Next year, I'd like to think they won't ask us again because we've done it so many times. But I mean, we love this festival. So
fair enough. I imagine that one that may not be on your tour circuit, given the style, is. Do you ever get asked to play Bloodstock?
No, I've always thought. Well, it's tough because we're not heavy. we are literally 10% heavy.
10%
so it's like,
heavy.
and I remember like, sadly, I think it was the last one this year, but I remember like UK Tech Fest.
Yeah, man.
It was sick. And I remember watching that grow and being like, I'm a real keen advocate for the UK music scene and festivals in general. And I've always wanted to play every festival.
Yeah.
And I think sadly Bloodstock and UK Tech Fest are a little bit out of our jurisdiction, sadly. So but maybe one year.
I have seen bands like
you haven't heard album 3 yet.
Where suddenly you turn into like deathcore, you're like throwing the arm up, blast beats everywhere, and 12% heavy after that.
Okay,
point.
Yeah. 12% is the requirement actually. So.
Well, exactly. I mean, though the funny thing is because I've done a lot of Bloodstocks and UK Tech Fest, the after party would actually suit you guys quite a lot of those festivals. So maybe you need to have like, not with UK because they're now done.
We can be the wedding band at the after party.
I would love to see you at Bloodstock because the funny thing is, you should get all of those double denim metalheads just probably enjoying themselves because
we grew up on metal. I think that's the funny thing about it is like Slipknot were my bands, Metallica was Scott's. You know what I mean? So we can roll with the boys.
Actually, in this sort of way, it kind of makes you a little bit like Sum 41 because they
were the metal pop punk band, weren't they?
They always talk about being metal. They do like
what were they called? The Sultans of what was that? What was they like? Oh no, the Sisters of. Fuck, they had like a side project where, at the end of Fat Lip or whatever, there's that dum-dum-dum. Yeah, that was like their side project, I think.
So I reckon you can get away with it, because, I mean, Sum 41 took over the world, saying that they love metal, but playing pop punk, so you can do the same thing. It'll work.
Trick them into it.
So, album which I can't remember the name of.
The Noble Art of Self-Destruction, August 25th.
Is August 25th in the title, or is that when it's coming out?
No, comma. That was a comma. The hyperlink ended at the comma.
I imagine you guys can't wait to get that one out, being this like viscerally close to it.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot. There's a lot to.
It's weird now because like it's our third record, right? So I think, especially with The Greatest Mistake, I think we all had this very kind of romantic feeling around it because it was like coming out of COVID, and it was this moment where like a really uncertain moment, and we were releasing this record right on the precipice of everything coming back to normal. Yeah. So that was a super romantic period for us. Whereas this one now it's not more like regimented or clinical, but it's like it's an album release.
It's the first time it feels like a cycle, but in a great way. We feel like it's nice because it feels like our first professional album almost.
Well, given what you were saying about the festival planning as well, this is you guys actually being a functioning band,
a real band. That's one thing that I think this album really encompasses. Is this is our first year as like a full-time band. Yeah. When we wrote The Greatest Mistake of my life, which is the name of the album, when we wrote The Greatest Mistake of my life, myself and Scott were both working like part-time jobs, and we would meet up every night. I would work at HMV, Scott would work at a coffee shop.
Amazing.
And a lot of that kind of, even the song In Circles is kind of about that. A lot of that energy was kind of born out of the frustration of wanting to be full-time and not almost, So for this, the hard thing for this album was finding time to be a full-time band and write an album, But we found time.
And I imagine that's, as you say, there's the imposter syndrome bit, but you probably also have a feel a little bit more what you want to write for your live crowd now that you've been so immersed in your crowd so often. Has that gone into do you have songs which are purely for the stage now?
Yeah, to an extent. We always think about the stage because it's such an important part of what we do, but then at the same time, you don't want it to dictate your music too much because you might just end up writing some weird album that is great live but sucks on record, right? So it's always finding the marriage, but I think more than anything though, for us it was about the idea that our catalog was going to expand. Yeah. And it's tough because you don't want to admit this, but some bands, will put out an album and only play 2 songs from that album. But it's about like making sure the set is perfect. You know? So it's trying to find the right pieces to the bigger picture almost. Yeah. So I
imagine that a lot of that you'll probably be deciding on the sort of album cycle for that album, where you're building sets and trying to get that balance of what people know you for. Yeah. And trying to get them excited for the new stuff as well.
Yeah. And we've played so many shows recently. Like we've played 75 shows this year.
Wow, dude.
And 97 shows last year. So, which is fucking mad. So since the pandemic, we've played like 200 shows.
And it's
crazy. Like songs like Afterlife, we have literally played 200 times. And like That's great, but yeah, you're right. It's like, it's not a shock. But so how do we make something that isn't a shock still feel exciting? You know what I mean? And like trying to find
new intros, new
live
bits.
versions, and or just flinging them in unexpected places as well. You know, like today we're opening with Like a Shadow, which was our way of being like, we can't not play Like a Shadow, but we've probably played it about 300 times, and some of our fans will have seen us play it dozens of times.
Yeah.
How do we make it exciting again? And the idea is we just come out and just sing that fucking chorus and let everybody feel that emotion out of the rip, like kind of shockingly so almost, you know?
Well, especially with a festival set on the time of day that you are as well, you've got to really cater it to punch people in the face as quickly as possible with the music, and then also make them feel like they've had a good set.
Yeah, this is very much about accommodating to the fans and I guess trying to, you know, encourage new people. You know, I guess so. Yeah, you're always trying to balance it, but I think we've got a good set today. So yeah.
Alrighty, well, I think that's probably a good point, because as we were saying off air, we if we don't like limit how much we talk,
the most boring 4-hour interview of all time,
and nobody else in the press area gets one with you guys.
We miss our set.
It'd be brilliant if you suddenly hear your entrance music go. Right, mic down, gotta go. Alrighty, dude. Well, again, thank you so much.
Lovely to see you.
Lovely to interview you for the first time as well.
Thank you, man. Yeah, nice to speak to you.
And congratulations on the first set that you've done on Wednesday, and good luck for the next set. I got it all done professionally.
Welcome to the My James Rock Show.